Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Friday Horse Live. I am so happy to have our friend back on the stream. Nate Moore, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, how's it going? Super happy to be here.
Yeah, we had you on a few months back. I don't know what is time. I don't know. You were on a time before now, and
Yes,
you showed us Astro for the first time, and I just loved it. It was so great. And you're on the Astro team. You are the co-creator and core team member. Is that an accurate description?
Yeah, that's accurate. I guess I have been there since the beginning. So, yeah, been a big part of the last year for me has been making Astro what it is today. So I'm excited to use it now. I think last time we checked in, there were lots of fun edge cases.
But I mean, that's what it is. But yeah, you've come a really long way with Astro. For people not familiar, how would you describe Astro?
Yeah, Astro is a static site generator that we're working on SSR, but it's kind of a modern take on component-based workflows, all server-side generated.
Yeah, it's really lovely. I didn't know about the SSR part. That's really interesting.
Yes, I don't think I'm spoiling anything there, but
I was hoping that was an exclusive and I could just tout it. Yeah, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, it's super delightful. Yeah, and you got you got funded, and like I don't know, it just seems like things are really picking up for Astro. I was excited when it launched, and you recently picked up Ben Holmes, a good friend of the stream, wonderful guy who creator of Slinkity, is now working on Astro, which is really kind of you because, and I'm going to put this into the record, Ben was just pilfering from Astro for months. He would say, Astro's doing this, and I'm bringing this to Slinkity, and he was doing it really well. But yeah, it was fantastic. Aaron, good to see you. Splendid development. That is our friend Aaron. Great to see you. And we have great people in the chat. Walton, good to see you. Brent, Ben is here. Ben, I was mentioning you off camera about the show my chat thing. Very excited about it. And Scott Cullum's here. Awesome to have you here, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, great folks. So you're not actually here to talk about Astro, though. We're going to use a little bit of Astro, but you're primarily here to talk about design tokens.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I am a developer, but I, studied design, and I had the title of designer for a long time in my career. So I am just a design tokens geek and really love that way of thinking about things. I think there's a really cool opportunity here for a new tool in the space. So that's what I'm here to talk about today.
Awesome. So you wanted to start off with talking about the design tokens collaboration group. Is that how?
Yeah. So it's a community group. Okay. The design tokens community group.
That's what it is.
It's under the W3C banner. But they are just doing some incredible work formalizing what design tokens look like. So there's a ton of tools that should be able to generate design tokens that you can use anywhere. So this community group is made up a lot of those vendors. I'm not going to say exactly who's involved because I will probably get it wrong. But you can definitely dig in more there on the GitHub. But they're doing an amazing job writing this format module. So it's a JSON-based format that, just kind of defines everything of how you describe your tokens in a machine-readable format.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm always bad at looking through documentation like this. I do want to say off the jump, my understanding is, and Kevin Powell's in the chat, this is not the same Kevin Powell that's in the chat. This is a different Kevin Powell. This is Kevin. It's a different Kevin Powell, and I didn't know there were multiple Kevin Powells in a very tight space. Like, it's not like, oh, he also does programming. I wouldn't be shocked if Kevin Powell was this Kevin Powell. But anyway, Not fake Kevin Powell, because I'm sure this Kevin Powell is wonderful as well. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. If you see this, we were surprised to hear it's a different Kevin Powell. Anyway, Kevin, also good to see you, Andre, and I saw Alex here too. And Mike, I thought you would be the first one in here. As soon as you said design tokens and everything, Mike is a huge design tokens fan. FKS Dev, good to see you. Cool. So so they are kind of outlining the structure of what they want a file type for design tokens to look like, or this is already established?
Totally.
Or?
Yeah, this is a draft,
Okay.
so it's definitely not finalized. And there's actually a GitHub repo here that I would encourage anybody that is interested in this to get involved with. Yeah. And if you go to the issues, there's lots of discussion happening. It's definitely not final yet. But the idea behind this is that, tools can generate or consume these design token files. So if you imagine Figma generating out just a JSON file for you, and then, maybe you pull it into Framer and work there. Or what I'm really excited about is where design tools meet the development space. So that's kind of the idea with Token CSS is you take one of the files that these tools generate and drop it in your project and just start writing CSS.
That sounds like the dream, honestly. Because having to go in to Figma, find the colors, but by hand either add them to like a Sass variable or now a CSS custom property, do that over and over again, and not just colors. Like I think colors are kind of not easy, but they're like one of the easier ones because you just copy and paste the hex code and do that sort of thing. But like typography, like those start to get tricky where spacing, like all those other aspects of design isn't always super quick to bring into your projects. And even more so, it's really tough to update, right? So like once the designer has changed a color or changed something, it's tough to know without like really good communication between those and tough to see where it's changed. So I think there's a lot to be gained from tools like this. There's a lot of people involved here. That's awesome.
It's a lot of really cool people.
I wish you tried earlier to name them all. I wish you would have gone for it.
Yes, maybe next time. All but right. It's super cool. I think the tools are really excited about this because it gives them an opportunity to like collaborate with each other. And I think developers should be really excited about this effort too, because it really solves a pain point. Right now, there are so many design token solutions, but they're all kind of using their own format or like things are, a little different between each one. So once you're in one, it's like, okay, we're a Tailwind shop, we're a Theo or styled tokens. Like, you kind of get stuck in your silo. So this is a huge opportunity to like get everybody on a standard path.
Cool. So we've got a standard coming down the pipe. So then where does that bring us to Token CSS or is there more to mine here?
No, I think that brings us pretty closely into what I'm working on. So cool. Token CSS is very early days here, but I'm really excited. The idea is that this project kind of comes out of that draft specification that they have and gives you, a way to define your tokens and then reference them in CSS. So cool. We can definitely jump into some code, and kind of get a project started here and build some stuff.
Is to like act as that bridge, right? So we need that bridge between Figma and VS Code in terms of those design tokens, and I guess we kind of glossed over what a design token is. So would you mind just hitting us with the definition? Apologies, chat, if you're kind of sitting there going, I don't know.
Totally. So design tokens came out of Salesforce, I believe, coined the term. It's really a way to break your designs down into like the smallest possible unit. So in the specification, actually, has a really good, Adobe has a great design system. The specification actually defines like what is a design token. So color, spacing, you can imagine shadow is a combination of color and spacing and opacity.
Got it.
So there's kind of a very low level token. Designers probably think of it as, variables. But where they start combining and referencing each other can get really complicated. So it's kind of just a way of approaching design systems where you at least define the smallest possible unit so that you can combine all of them together into exciting designs.
Cool. Yeah, and I've never seen this doc before, but this is really nice. Like, I like how they explain the different types of tokens, like the global ones, where this is just, like you can't abstract in between much more. But then like the alias tokens, where you're still going to reference the blue 400, you're not going to reference the like core value.
Yes.
And then component specific, where like in that button you say exactly what that CTA color is, and then you kind of like go back, and it allows you to change it in one spot, change that blue in one place, and have it like just wave out. No, like have it just go everywhere. It just changes everywhere. So it's nice abstraction pattern.
So this is probably a great time to talk about like what exists out there today. I know everyone's familiar with Tailwind. It's kind of taken the front end ecosystem by storm. Rightfully so, because it has this wonderful API for your design system. Basically, I think that was their tagline at one point. So what I love about this is there's a centralized place where you define all your tokens in the config. And this is like so easy to use. And then anywhere in your HTML, your markup, you just reference that name, and it kind of writes the CSS for you. There are some things I love about that. There's some things I don't love about that, where you're kind of, there's this extra layer of abstraction where you're learning not only CSS concepts, but also how does Tailwind reference this CSS concept.
Yeah,
right?
You're kind of locked into the utility classes aspect, and if that's something you're going for, then I feel the same way, where I love that they brought this methodology to the forefront, where like now everyone kind of appreciates like a modular system for spacing, and like this is really, really nice. And I think people have appreciated it for a while, but I don't feel like using like spacing units. If I come here, like the way that they're doing their spacing, I love it, and not a lot of people were using it. So now that people are like seeing this, they're going, "Oh wow, this is a great way to handle spacing, to handle lots of other things." But it's tightly coupled to Tailwind. So if we can like break off and get like the benefits here without making you use utility classes, I think that's a win.
Yeah, and there's an awesome project called Open Props. That's from Adam Argyle at Google, and I think that's a big part of the idea, is like, how do we have these tokens that are just easy to use, ready to go, like Tailwind is, but keeping it in your CSS. And it's a really cool take on this project. So I really love both of those, and I think they're super cool. So I decided to compete with them directly.
Good. Let's go. Let's go after them. Oh shoot! And Ben, I have not fixed that. But it's shoot. That's kind of be busted probably. Oh well. Ben made me an awesome bot. I have yet to like fine tune it to make it actually work well. It's a story of my life. Anyway, so Token CSS. Oh, it's just gonna keep getting worse, buddy. It's not gonna it's not gonna work. You're just gonna disappoint yourself more and more. So let's dig into Token CSS. I already ran npm install. What do I want to do from there?
So you'll notice we have another config file to everyone's disappointment. But there's, you need a place to define all your tokens. So
Cool.
the idea here is we have a token.config.json file.
Cool.
And we're going to start writing some tokens here. So it's a bit of an opinionated take on the specified format, which is really loose. But the idea here is like, it would be great to map the tokens to a particular scale, so that you can define your tokens without referencing some complex naming system. So to break that down a bit more, a design scale would be like all spacing values or all colors or all border radius, something like that. So if you can imagine, there are plenty of CSS properties that could reference a color, and it's not just like color. It could be inside a box shadow, it could be inside a background, it could be inside a gradient, things like that. So the idea is, if you define those in a scale, Token CSS can categorize them for you and then generate the property. So we'll jump into the code a little bit.
Cool.
So let's write colors would be our first scale here.
Do we do scale or just colors?
It is color. So a top level color property, just color.
Cool.
And then inside of here, it's just an object. And then you could say like red, and then define your version of red. Wow. Copilot
wants me to go really red, but unless you have a better one, I probably will disable for now.
Yeah, let me send you this. How about a whole bunch of reds?
Ooh.
So I think these are borrowed from Open Props.
Which it's funny, is borrowed from Open Color. Open Props,
yes.
Adam didn't yet implement his own colors. He's using Open Color, but kind of found that he might extend it to be a bit darker, because it kind of cuts off kind of short. But this is a great starting point, so that's perfect.
Yeah, so we can just start there. So if we now want to go to the source/pages/index.astro file.
Cool. Index. Wait. Sorry. Source. There we go. Cool. Got it.
There we go. Okay. So what Token CSS does is generates from the JSON file, generates the CSS custom properties for you, so that you don't have to go maintain that yourself.
Nice.
So let me send you this little snippet as well. Cool. So at the top of that style block, we can just add this inject @ rule.
Okay.
And then if we run this is really similar to like what Tailwind's doing.
Okay. Is this npm run dev?
Yes.
Cool.
So this should pop up a little server. And we're not going to see much of anything yet. Seeing something, some words. But if we inspect this, we should also see in the styles that we have a whole bunch of variables now. So, yeah, one of the cool things about this is they're namespaced by the scale. And we're also generating RGB variants for it. So if you wanted to modify the opacity, you could use those. But I'll show you how we reference those in a second.
Cool.
And this is the really cool part that gets me excited about Token CSS.
Awesome.
So if we jump back to the code and we just want to make that headline red, in the index.astro file, we can just write a rule for the H1, and we'll say color is going to be, let's go red.5.
Thought I turned you off, Copilot. Copilot's coming back to life. You said
Really aggressive.
You said what? No var?
Red, no vars. This is
Oh.
kind of the magic. So red.5, and then save that, and we can jump back to the browser.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Cool. So let's check that element in the DOM and look at the style. Cool. So Astro does the scope style thing. So that's also going on. But this is what Token CSS is doing. So you just reference the value that you want, and it'll generate the CSS variable for you.
Okay, Nate. All right. Hold on. What? I got to wrap my brain around this. I did not expect this. All right. So many questions. I don't know what just happened. It just was not what I expected. I expected to go in. And you saw me typing var. I'm like, you mean var, right?
Totally.
So we're not using the. I think you called it like a tag this. What's the word?
Yes. Scale.
Scale. Thank you. We're not using the scale there, but it knows. Is it because the scale has allowed this to work for anything that takes a color?
Yes. So This is kind of the magic thing. So by categorizing your declarations, say this could also be in a background or something else, Token CSS basically knows like, oh, you want to reference a color value here, and I found a matching color value for red 5. So it'll generate that for you. Right. It's a little magic, and I usually don't love things that happen magically like this, but I do think this is a really awesome way to cut down on the heavy syntax of custom properties. So you can imagine designing this system yourself where you're going in and you're saying var dash dash my namespace dash color dash red dash 5. Yeah. And it just gets really unruly, and you need to think in every project you're doing, like, oh, did I name my scale color or colors with an S or something else entirely? Right. So that kind of takes that question out of the equation here. It's just red 5, and I know what that is.
Yeah. Okay, so Travis has a great question. Does this work outside of Astro, or like will it work outside of Astro? Like, what is the requirement here? It's clearly a build step. Is there some kind of other requirement?
No, it is PostCSS based right now. So if you look at our PostCSS config, all we've done is add Token CSS.
That's not a whole lot of setup here. Wow. Okay.
It is not. So that'll load your config file for you and do a whole bunch of other stuff. So that will basically, when you inject those custom properties, it generates all those for you.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then it transforms your declarations.
Yeah. So Scott says it's like we can build our own system of CSS keywords. This is rad. And
yes.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Dutch, I think that's Celt, but I might be. The American in me wants to say Celt, but I'm pretty sure it's Celt. Dutch Celt says, I'm assuming this works in build time and generates a var, which it seems like that's what it does, right? Like that's what's happening there.
Yep.
That's
for
really
sure.
Cool.
So it'll replace that. And then we're also using PostCSS preset env, which does that down leveling for us.
Got it.
Basically, that first declaration that has the inline value is just something PostCSS can do for you.
This?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, got it. So that's coming from PostCSS. Some
a
guy
fallback.
Named B. Holmes Dev, I don't know, says, looks like it's fancy syntax that gets processed, assuming because it's red.5 instead of --red5, for example. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So it's very similar to just CSS keywords, like inherit or actually for fonts, there are some keywords in the spec, which I think is really interesting that I'm trying to remember them right now. Font size. I'm just going to check MDN.
Cool.
Yeah, font size has these keywords already, which are really interesting and have been in the spec since I think the CSS 1.
So I'm just gonna paste these, I don't know, down here so folks can see them.
Yeah. So these are in the spec. If you wanted to, you could reference all of your font sizes like this.
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, these are in the spec and they translate to like, so medium is the default. So that's like 1 rem.
Wait, like I could already do this just in CSS?
Yes.
What?
That's already a thing. So
What?
if you look, Token CSS not touching that. If you go look, it's just small. That's a keyword.
XX small? That's a thing?
Yeah. It's really silly.
I'm sorry. I didn't. That's amazing. Okay, so clearly we have to avoid that, is what you're saying now. So that kind of like adds a complication.
I don't know that it's a complication. I think what this shows is that when people were inventing CSS, they kind of were thinking in this way that like it'd be really nice if you didn't have to use the values, right? You could just use
I mean,
small or XX small, something like that.
We're doing this in Tailwind and another design token kinds of thing. So yeah, like they're on the right track there, but it's just I just didn't realize that this was there, and also like the customization. Yeah, but it turns into M's. Is that what it does, or?
Internally, I think so, but
Okay,
it just stays there.
Computed?
But the computed would be an M basically.
9 pixels. Got it. Oh, two. Wait, what? 2M.
I think XX small is
that's
computed
that's
font size.
Sorry, yeah. Ben, thank you so much for gifting that sub. Really appreciate you. And that Adrian guy, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Really appreciate you all. My goodness, this is so cool. That blew my mind in terms of like, yeah, I didn't know about this. And Trout says, Trout Soda says, we used to use these back in the day for accessibility reasons. They would scale differently in old browser engines. That's funny.
Based on the user's preferences, right? So what's cool is that we're taking this same idea of like, there are some cool keywords. Actually, smaller is one. So they're relative size. Yeah.
I love this from Travis in the chat.
Whoa.
Small. I don't want to try this real quick. All right. And then we will get back on task, I promise. No, it does not seem to like that at all. So, oh well. Good thinking, Travis. All right. So we now know there are some more things that we need to avoid. Do we want to add more tokens and kind of build more things out?
Yeah, let's do it. So, yeah, I have some more tokens here. I kind of have. Yeah.
Just for chat, we're not gonna, okay. So, I was just gonna say we're not gonna type tokens. Is this the kind of format? Like, is this the format that the working group has proposed? Like what we're looking at here? Okay. And so is this the format that like Adobe and Figma and them should be theoretically working towards in the near future?
I think so. I think there have been some changes recently to like namespace things more explicitly with like a $sign.
Okay.
So it's definitely a draft that's still in progress, but the idea is that we'll kind of adhere to whatever the final spec is, right?
Got it.
So yeah, this is the gist of it, is basically anything that has a value, is an object with a value keyword, is your actual token.
That's really cool.
But you can nest groups and categories and all that stuff as much as you want. So cool. I'm just going to send you this file.
Yeah, hit me.
I don't think we need to type out each scale here.
No, and that's going to be like that's half the point, I think, is that
yes.
of, we don't want to, and so we're, they're leaning on companies to make it so that you just click a button and boom, you get this, right? You just get these output from your design system. Your designers are happy because
Yep.
you're building it exactly how they designed it. You don't have to do this like, awkward or maybe imprecise handoff where you go in and you use, like Figma's good at surfacing those values, but doing that over and over and over again, you're going to make a mistake. It's time consuming, whatever. Just being able to push a button and get something like this out of all of your design tools, knowing it's going to work, not needing to worry about, oh, actually Tailwind takes it this way, right? Like this, having a standard here just makes a lot of sense. So
Totally.
So what do we got here? We got colors.
We got colors. We got font sizes. We got typography. There's spaces and sizes,
Cool.
Which are interesting. And then radius is an obvious one for your rounded corners.
Right.
Shadow is interesting because it's like a composite. So
okay. Yeah, I'm really interested by this one.
This is kind of what the working group is still figuring out. Is
that would make sense. That's
what are all of the they started with like color and easy ones like that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's just a hex thing.
Width or
yeah. But here, these are what's called composite tokens in the spec. So they actually reference a lot of other values. You'll notice they don't have the value. Well, they do have the value keyword, but then inside of that, it's an object.
Yeah, well, it's an array of objects for this one. What's this default? Is that the shadow?
Yeah,
so that's okay. Got it. Okay.
That's just a name. It doesn't mean anything special at the moment.
Okay. So I would have to type shadow.default, not just shadow. Like, is that kind of what it is?
Yeah. So if you did
back. So if you do like, is it drop shadow or box shadow and then filters drop shadow? Box shadow.
So you should be able to do like small SM.
Wait, just really?
Yeah.
No.
I think it'll work unless something's broken.
Let's see. I might have box shadow none.
That's computed.
Do we need to rerun anything? We update our config file. Do we need to?
We shouldn't. I'm thinking. As I said, this is early days, so I'm thinking shadow might be busted at the moment.
No worries.
But there are some other things like
let's try should we make like a div?
Yeah, let's do a div let's do like a list of 3 boxes maybe.
Okay. An order list. Could have done a little Emmet here, but I'm just gonna do lazy Emmet. All right, cool. Got that.
Cool. And then so let's just do like a flex thing on the UL.
Is there anything for this or just go and flex?
Nope. Cool. That's kind of the nice thing is there's no different syntax. It's just CSS.
Yeah.
And then we'll do let's just lay them out like horizontally. So there's 3 next to each other. So I guess we already have that. But let's make each div. We'll just put in like we'll just make them 1em for now. So
is there a spacing for that?
There should be.
I want to go screen. So size would be like 1 rem. So size. So just SM.
Yep.
Okay. Background color. And then a height SM.
Yes.
Okay. Background. I'm like, really?
Yeah, red, or let's go indigo 5.
Nice. And then let's put a little bit of a gap here.
Yep. So gap should also work.
Wow.
With like
okay. Trusting you here, Nate. I trusted you. Oh no.
Ooh.
Where
Something's wrong.
Is So we got our unordered list. Doesn't have a
Let's
height.
check the
So
styles
yeah, I
on
think the
there.
height might not be coming through. Height is 0.
Can we
Width is
check the
0.
styles tab instead of computed?
Yes. Ah.
Ooh,
Okay, it's just
nothing.
coming in as SM.
Okay.
Interesting. Let's try to kill the server and restart it. That's just my hunch. It seemed to see it, but like it was showing that it was updating. But just wanted to kill that so we're not okay. So it is picking up on Indigo. Indigo was added after the thing.
Okay.
But
So let's just
SM,
add like 1M for
cool.
now.
All
I'm
good.
thinking box shadow and height may have gotten messed up. So
That's good. 1M. All right.
okay.
Box shadow is good. Box
But
shadow,
then
actually.
can we try gap if that is working with small?
It seems to be. Yeah, interesting. Okay. So it's just certain properties aren't hitting the right way.
Some, yes,
Cool.
I think sizing might
All
not
good.
be hooked up right.
All good.
But a cool thing about this, if we go and like update this to medium or large, we can actually see that update in real time. Yep. So now it's space large.
Oh, it is. Okay, I'm gonna do one of these fancy boys where I do that. And
yeah.
That way we can actually see that because it's tough to tell. Nice. All right, cool.
Okay. So obviously some pieces need to come into place here, but if you can imagine using this and having like a VS Code extension that as you type out gap gives you like, oh, you want small, medium, or large, or whatever you've defined.
Right.
And just kind of is like strongly typed CSS maybe, where you have auto completions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vision for this tool. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, like as you said, like Tailwind does have like a nice VS Code extension. It won't work here, but like if we see, oh, what was it? There we go. Like showing the colors, right? Like being able to see that kind of stuff right there, or see the values of what SM actually is in VS Code as you're choosing your values. It's just such a nice little thing to have. So yeah, I definitely see that kind of thing coming, or like the value there. I think.
Yeah, there is another cool thing that I know is working. So we also defined some media tokens in our token file. Just some up at the top.
Got it. So like media queries. Got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So these are literally just media queries, but they're just some basic breakpoints.
If you see my mind like going all over the place, it's because I'm trying to figure out how we're going to use this. I'm trying to stay a step ahead of you, Nate. But like, I'm going like, oh, so this way? You're like, nope, actually, there's a secret door, and I'm like, what? So yeah, I'm just gonna try to stop figuring this out ahead of time. It's fun, but I'm often wrong. So what are we doing with these media queries?
Okay, so we should be able to do. Let's say by the H1 we can do like a media at media. And then just the token, so space SM.
Okay.
And then inside of there, we'll make the H1 like green 5.
So, trying to open up dev tools. So,
the small might need parens around it.
I wasn't sure. Check what's coming through.
There are like so many layers to this with Astro and PostCSS.
Yeah. Root media, small, min width. Okay,
so those are
tied on the front. Got it.
Yeah, those are definitely in there. I don't have a great way to like debug the output.
Got it.
But yeah, it's okay. So that's not working.
No worries.
But Hold on. I know I had a sample of this. Just a second.
Yeah, I mean it's here. Um,
Here, this was working.
I didn't
So
know you could use CSS custom properties as media. Can you?
you
Or is that
cannot.
okay?
No, there's a custom media is a new thing.
Right.
So that will unlock this, but for now, there's a reason these are in the DOM though, because the plan is to also have a JavaScript layer to this, if you
Okay.
want.
Got it.
So I realize I sound a bit like a mad scientist here, but
No.
as you know interact with these tokens, I can see spots where like if you're using React or Vue, you need like a reactive version of the token.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can actually read the tokens from the DOM. So to have like the breakpoints in here, you can actually read them.
Got it.
You can actually even put like just JSON as a custom property and read that out. Not saying you should, but you could share some data from your CSS to
Sure.
JavaScript like that.
Now, I mean, like in my mind, I would want to import from this instead and have like a nice API to hit this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which you definitely can do, but there's then you're shipping all your tokens twice as JavaScript, but they're already in the CSS. So
Right.
yeah, there's another layer to this that I probably shouldn't get too far into until I can show you some code. But here, I actually got this working. So I'm not sure what's going on in the sample there.
Okay, but Scott says, so you made JS and CSS.
Oh no. What have I done?
You did the unthinkable. Never
okay, so
to ask if you should. You're pasting me something right now? Or you're sending me something?
My indentation is just all weird.
That's fine. I think I can run Prettier. Oh, I think Prettier just doesn't know about Astro files, maybe. Which it should.
We're working on that.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Nope, doesn't like it. All right, cool. I thought I changed it in my settings. That's funny. So paste this in just anywhere. Should I?
Yeah, above the, just at the top would be great. Yeah, like the H1. So this should work. And then if we remove the H1,
all right, I'll get rid of the H1.
Styles that are overriding that color.
All right.
So this should work. So we have a couple things happening here.
Okay.
Our font family is our sans. That's our keyword for it.
Right.
And they're red 6 by default. That's so interesting. I see this working.
Oh,
okay. There we go.
There we go.
The breakpoints are really big.
Oh, I think I'm zoomed in is what I was. I zoomed in for the chat, and so I was always. I'm sorry, that was on me. See, you can't give me anything. I'm gonna mess it up. Okay, cool. So this is working.
Yes.
That's really I like. Honestly, that syntax is pretty lovely. I don't mind this at all. That's great though. Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
so this is kind of, or you can imagine like hover here being like, it'll go from, if you do like the ampersand, we have nesting enabled. So,
cool. So where do you want that?
Let's see. Let's go below this and write an H1 rule.
Okay. Below the body?
Yeah.
Cool.
And we'll do like color is going to be, red 6. And then ampersand : hover. And the color is going to be, red 8. We still need a color.
Oops. Yep, we sure do.
There.
I do like that 500 screen. Astro's got such a nice design to it. I like the logo. I like so much about it.
Thank you.
Okay, so okay, nice. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So where this interacts with like some upcoming CSS features is really exciting. Like this nesting syntax, which you can use today with PostCSS. So
Right.
um,
So
I just think
the
it's
nesting, just for chat, that's not a token CSS feature. That is a post CSS feature.
correct, and it's going to be a CSS spec feature now.
Right. Is it going to be the same? I haven't dug too much into that. Is it going to be like you got to do something funky with it to like specify nesting, or is it going to just be like as
The
is?
ampersand is necessary.
Okay.
So where
Got it. So like before I could do
SAS,
like div and then paragraph, like that sort of thing. But I need to
yes,
specify
the
the ampersand now.
ampersand
That's not
is
much to ask
needed,
for. That's fine. I'm good with that.
which is one concession to the browsers that like, okay, that makes parsing a lot easier and less expensive.
Got it. Makes sense.
So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, I start getting really excited about where all these pieces come together, and being able to use. Oh, okay. Here's one other cool thing
Okay.
with the H1 that we can do. So
Okay.
you can also like cast your property with a custom property. So if this was dash dash color instead.
Oh, what just
Oh,
happened? That
that
was funky. Okay.
is very
Might have had a
strange.
lot of things selected anyway.
And then above that, so on line 29, that's going to be dash dash color as well.
Oh, got it. Cool. It keeps that.
I don't know what that is. And then we can say like the color is going to be like var dash dash color. So some regular CSS variables in here.
Got it. So we can set this to CSS custom properties.
Yes.
So it's kind of
it's actually, if you hover again, this should keep working.
Yeah.
Yes. So we can look at the output there and see that Token CSS not only knows how to categorize like regular property declarations, but also custom properties.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about here, where you might have like those different layers of abstraction on something. And so you might not always want, like, you really don't want to use the actual like value, and even red 6 might be not abstracted enough, right? Like how we're not using blue 400 for this button CTA background color. We're abstracting it down. So would you recommend, I know it's early days, you don't have like best practices around Token CSS, but would you recommend that this config file stays relatively like, let's see, global, right? And then you build up the alias and the component specific tokens elsewhere? Or do you think this should kind of be the master list for all that stuff?
Yeah, that's kind of the big question that's still open. I think it makes a lot of sense for global tokens, and then how you abstract them into components is going to be that's kind of how I'm thinking, is like you use these global components, but they're scoped to a component. That's where the JS layer kind of comes in. Okay, is like, cool. If you can imagine passing them in as props, and then those generate the tokens for that specific component.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, this is kind of just a new thing that I'm really excited about. There's still a lot to do, but I think this actually fits super well with Astro as well, because you have like semantic HTML and CSS, but you can split it out into components without needing that overhead of the JavaScript. I think that's really exciting.
That's really cool. Yeah. So do you want to build a bit more with it?
Yeah, let's do it. Cool. I think it'd be cool to build like just like a sort of design system, like Swatch thing thing
page
that
like
displays
one of
all our
those.
colors.
Awesome,
Yeah.
I love it. All right, and yes, Ben Myers, someone did say semantic HTML. Oh, and just to say it into the record, Scott did say that it's a great thing. He likes the JS and CSS that you've created. And Dutch Kelt says the JS version of the tokens would be great because then you could also use them for font face. I do this with Style Dictionary. That's a good point. I did not think of that.
Yeah.
And then Princess says, was there an issue with the extension completion?
That is Erica from the Astro community who is doing some amazing stuff on the extension. I think when you hit the double dashes, that was Astro being weird.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could try to. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't. Maybe because color was already there and I tried to add something to it. Yep, that's what it was.
Yep, that would do it.
Interesting. Huh. Oh, well. But Erica, great to have you. Thanks for being here. Shout out to Erica. Nice. And then Ryan says, a super interesting idea definitely seems to make things easier between designer and developer. Yeah, that's like where I feel like there's been too much friction in the past. I would love for that to get a lot better. So how do we want to make this design page? You called it something? I lost the name.
Just like design system. Like
maybe
let's make
the colors.
Yeah, let's make a component.
Cool.
So yeah, what we do in Astro is create a new source/components folder.
Cool. So in here, new folder. Cool.
And then we can create like swatch.astro.
Cool.
And this can literally just be a div, I think.
Fancy. All right.
with a class name of Swatch.
Is it just
class equals Swatch?
Okay.
It sure is. It is just class.
I like that.
And then if we create a style in here.
Okay. So just like that.
Yep.
Cool.
And then we can do a .swatch style, and width and height would just be like, maybe let's do like 4 rem. Yep.
Cool.
And then we can do, let's see, let's just do like black for a background right now.
Do you want to do like a black? Is there like a black 5 or a gray?
I don't
9?
think so. Just, yeah, sure. Gray 9 sounds great.
Cool.
So now in this file, up at the top, there should be, there is not. So we can add a front matter block for Astro.
Ooh. And that's where those colors things seem to be. There we go. There it is. There it is.
Cool.
I was like, these feel like front matter lines. That's
yes.
what I think it is. Cool.
So if we import the Swatch component, so let's just import Swatch.
Like capital from?
Yep. From -- components / swatch.astro. Yep.
Cool.
And then we can just reference that here. Yeah. Cool.
All right, there it is.
We got a swatch. That's great.
Nice. It's beautiful.
So let's see. I'm trying to think the best way to pass in
the colors.
Prop here. Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious how you're gonna do that. And Amit's here. Good to see Amit. And I totally nice. Marlon, perfect. You nailed it. The black square. It's perfect. Good to see you, Marlon. And Amit, yeah, I forgot that we did daylight savings time. Not everyone does. So yeah, my hours are a little funky right now. So I apologize. Completely, yeah, just washed over me that's the case. We talked about it in the server, but it never occurred to me with like the times of the show are different now. So
yes, I know. I appreciate the rest of the world catering to our weirdness here with daylight savings time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more just like I I set it to be 12 o'clock my time, and just sorry if that's not convenient, but it's what I got to do the show. Cool. So we've got that swatch in there. We got to figure out how to like run through all the colors and output them, kind of thing, right? Is that kind of what you're trying to feel out?
Yeah. So
figure out?
We could, yeah, this is where like that JS layer would be really helpful.
Yeah.
But we could just kind of in the swatch.astro file.
Could we import like?
Yeah, we could import the tokens. I think.
Do I have to open another layer?
One more layer, yeah. To the tokens.config, which might not autocomplete, but token.config.json.
Cool.
And then
import that as something. Yeah.
I think it's a default. So just like tokens.
Import tokens for token from. So this is just coming in a JSON file. Is that gonna?
I think if we log this out, it should go to your terminal there.
Cool.
And see if that's working.
Yeah, we got some. Yeah, you got it. All right, cool.
Cool. So yeah, obviously Token CSS does a lot to like parse your tokens and generate all that stuff. But we can kind of hack around it right now. So if we want to get out the color values.
Cool. So be tokens dot colors.
Yeah, I'll have to check the
tokens.
Yeah, it's dot color.
Yep.
And then each scale. So this is an object, so we can kind of do.
God, so do we want to do that down here, like line?
We can do an expression. So curly braces is how we do expressions, and we can do token.colors or tokens, I think.
Oh, you're right, tokens.
And then
singular.
Color. We probably need to wrap this in object.entries.
Or key. Okay.
Both work. And then we're gonna map that. Where the first is going to be the scale. Yeah, that's an array with object.entries, so that's going to be yeah, you're doing it.
Okay.
We do need to return that element there.
I guess I could do an implicit return.
Yes.
Cool.
So this should at least be a bunch of black squares.
Okay, cool. Let's see that. There it is. All right. So that's red, blue, green, and so on, right? Like that's what that should be.
Yes, it will be.
And then so we need to loop through it again inside, correct?
Yes.
Cool. Would that just be another one of these, or I should remove the implicit and?
Yes. Yeah, remove the implicit.
Okay, my bad.
Return. And then we'll do another. We can return the array again.
So return. I'll get rid of swatch.
So scale is actually a tuple here.
Okay.
So if we destructure that, it'll be the value, the key and the value, right? It's a key value pair.
Got it. So we're getting okay.
So we're getting gray and then the object on the right.
So I can just destructure that here?
Yeah.
Or not?
Like
this?
Yeah, you can do that. Yep. So this would be key, comma, value.
I don't know if I know that. Huh. Okay, cool.
And then we can return. We could just do like an H2 with the key inside of it here.
Is it this?
Yes.
Cool.
And this should give us all our categories.
Nice. All right. Oh, got it. And then, so we'll put parentheses around this because we're going to add more here. Cool.
Totally.
And then, what do we want here?
Then we want probably a UL.
Cool. Oh, it wants to close my UL. That's not what we want. Okay, so let's move the UL inside this, right?
Yes.
Or there should be another UL, right?
Yes, this should be wrapped right now. Yeah, instead of the parentheses, let's do an li. Just make this all list.
Okay. Whoa, Charlie. Oh, wait, yeah, Charlie. Thank you so much for gifting those subs. Wow, really, really appreciate it. That's so generous. My goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, and sorry. Oh, and Daniel says it changed for me on the 27th. Got it. Wow, Charlie, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. That's, yeah, so kind. Great to have you here. All right, so we're changing these parentheses to an li.
Yes.
Li. That makes sense. All right, cool. We're there. And all right, feeling that now. Yeah.
Cool. And then we'll nest another UL inside of there. I don't know. Is H2 actually valid in a list item? I don't think so.
It's gonna be today. We're just going with it. It's gonna happen. I think it should be. I don't know. Ben, are you in chat? Ben, are you there? Or anyone. I just always turn to Ben. Sorry to everyone else who's here and is like, I know the answer to this. You can weigh in also. But like Ben runs a show called Semantics. So like when it's semantic HTML, he nailed the branding. So all right. So in here we're gonna map again.
Yes. So we'll do value. I think value is also an object here, so we can kind of copy that first.
Okay. So we can do structure off of that. Or we can go like key and color.
Yep.
Cool. Or I guess value isn't really useful there. We want the.
We
okay,
do want that.
So this is color. That like so this is key and that's color. Okay, got it. So we'll do color. Oh my goodness, this is quite the nesting operation here.
This is getting pretty crazy.
This is getting pretty hairy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the JavaScript implementation already. Oh, and Mitt is on semantics today. Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm trying to think like with the time zones. Is that I don't know if that's right after this or when that is, but I'm excited for it. Cool. So from here, do we want to do the key again? Do we want to? Yeah, we want to output the key again. So this is like a H3. I don't know. And then why is it yelling me for value.map? Property map.
It is. That's an object though, so we're gonna need object.entries again.
Good call. All right. And I think it's okay. Cool. We're good. And then let's just do
color.value.
Is that gonna work?
It should. Might need a span around it.
Cool. All right, let's see what we get out. Let's see if we get anything out. So far, no. Doesn't like what we're doing.
Broken.
Object.entries.value. Okay, it's working there. It's not working here. The key is working. What isn't working though? Oh, I'm not returning anything here.
That would do it.
It would do it. Often does it. All right. So
Sweet.
we're at least taking the value out.
That's beautiful. I don't think we have anything left to do.
Sure. It's, I can think of some things, but sure.
Yeah, so we can let's turn that span into the swatch.
Cool. And
then we'll just say like give it a value prop of color.value.
Cool. Is it just quotes or what is it?
With braces.
Cool. Like this?
Yep. And then that can be self-closing.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we can update our component.
Cool.
So at the top, yep, we'll do the front matter fence, and then we destructure the value out of astro.props.
Okay.
So const value equals astro.props.
Nice. Thanks for
That is
fixing my
right.
capital. That was nice. Oh, and then we
Cool.
need to use it.
Yeah.
So.
So there's another cool feature that Astro has. It's called define vars.
Oh.
So on the style block, we
Okay.
can add on line 8, add an attribute that is define : vars, and then this equals we can do two basically an expression with an object, and we can just put value in there.
Just like that?
Yes. And then
that's pretty
so
cool.
what that will do is create a CSS variable with dash value.
And is it scoped to this so that I can use?
Yes.
So
yep. So you can do var dash value. Should work.
But is the last one replacing the value for that?
That's possible.
That's the only thing I'm thinking is that so I was wondering if you added scoping to this, because otherwise it's just going to because this is going to happen at a more global level, I'm guessing, right?
I think that's what's happening here. Yeah.
Although,
so we can pass it as a
interesting. So it's look, here's what's happening, right?
Yeah.
It's going through, but it is scoping it kind of.
Okay, I think I know what we can do, which is just pass it in as like inline style on the div.
Okay.
So we can do style equals Astro needs a string.
Okay.
So we can actually use another cool Astro feature, which is template literal attributes.
So like this?
You don't need the braces.
Nice.
And then dash value, colon, and then we can escape and put the value right there.
And then close it with a semi. Cool.
And then we can remove that.
Here. Cool. There we go. That worked.
Cool.
Nice. Now we just need to fix the way that that's running sideways. So key. I'm trying to think of how do we want this. Great. Yeah, we want this to go vertically. So why is it going sideways? That's my UI.
We have display flex. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Not a ton better. It's still a huge scroll, but we're seeing how that works. Got it. So right now we're passing those colors and we're losing a little bit of the magic of like what this does, but at least we can see like how like right now if you wanted to pick it up and run with it, it might be you might be able to at least display it in that way.
Yep.
But yeah,
there will be support for that. Basically, passing it as a prop is kind of what I'm working on right now. So
nice
that you could just pass in like red.6 and it would automatically convert it for you.
Got it. And to be fair, the side scrolling thing was my fault. Austin points out that I should just buy an ultra wide monitor. It'd be easy. That just solves this problem. Who needs vertical when it's got to go wider? Thank you, Austin. I appreciate it. Easy solutions for sensible people. I love it. Cool. 2 hours from now. Got it. So I'm just wondering if I could raid you for that, Amit, but I think we will be definitely done 2 hours from now. So yeah, but that's gonna be a fun one. Cool. So was there anything else that we wanted to kind of touch on here?
There is one other cool feature.
Nice.
So the you've defined the media variables up at the top here. And what I always end up doing is like, you can just create a container based on those. So there's a feature right now where you can add another inject at the top, similar to that. So you can copy that.
Okay.
But instead of base, it's going to be called container.
Okay.
And now there's just this container class that's been defined for our breakpoints. So if you throw that on the UL here, or the body, yeah, I think here, class equals container.
And then also give it like a list class. Not a great name, but I just want to see a background so I can see extra change, or a border, I guess. Let's go background because we know. Actually, I do want to see the border stuff. So border. Do we have big?
It should just, you
I
should
know
be able to use the color inside of there. I don't think we have any borders defined right now.
Easing here too. Letter spacing.
Yes.
Nice. That's one thing I love about open props is the like the eases and stuff built in. That's really handy. So
Yep.
fully support that. So 1 pixel solid and then red 5 should work. Thanks for the follow.
Let's cross our fingers.
We'll see.
I think it should work.
All right. So we're not seeing that right now. Let's see if that's what it is.
Just do
Maybe
red.
not.
There we go.
So got it. So not working for border to see yet, but as we said, early days, chat, early days. And then I just want to see if border radius, would that be like small?
Yeah. Full is a good one.
Oh, full
That should
would
make
be a
it
big circle, right? Or at least
that would be a yeah.
it'd be weird for this, but it'd be fun. Nice. Giant pill. This is exactly what I was going for. It's perfect. But now we can at least see how the container works, and we're seeing that it's getting some nice spacing on the sides. And as you go in, it gets spacing. Nice. So it's just a nice, easy container class that gets thrown on there. And that relates to these
media tokens at the top.
Got it.
So it'll use those as the breakpoint.
And then is there a way to like customize the spacing I want on the side or anything like that?
Totally. So there's some other custom properties that you can I think I'd have to look at what those are. I think they're
like. So
there it is.
Astro.
It's up one.
So it's up one?
The UL.
Thank you.
That one. Cool. Yeah, so there's container margin inline that we can defaults to 0.75 rem, but we can we could change that ourselves.
Awesome. I've like I know we talked about Tailwind a lot on here already. That was not the intent, but like I like this pattern of using CSS custom properties inside CSS custom properties inside CSS custom properties. Like one thing that I think that Tailwind did really good is giving you the power of a background opacity when you don't like that's not a thing that you can set, but with the way that they like chained their properties together, you can have like a 50% background opacity, not drop the opacity on anything else in that element, right? Like you're not affecting the main opacity, but you're able to drop that because they're just chaining a bunch of CSS custom properties together, and it makes a lot of sense. So anytime we're like composing off of a lot of these, I'm kind of happy, and I'm happy because I don't have to like you already thought about this. I don't have to wrap my head around it and go write the CSS because like writing it feels like a way to break my brain. So I'm glad that you used your brain to write it, and I can just pick it up and use it. That's my dream here.
Yeah, so I really love how Tailwind uses custom properties. It's super clever, and I kind of am using it here so that you don't need to go rewrite a bunch of stuff that you're going to do in every project.
No, and getting this container like out of the box is just a nice way to get up and going quickly, and then being able to customize these. So I can go like container margin inline, and if I customize this, if I can select it.
Just on the root.
Cool. So let's go. Should I add a root?
Yep.
Let's go ridiculous to see if it's working. It is working. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Just one of those things where if I'm not trying to get it just right, I didn't know what it was set to before, so I didn't want to, Yeah. Okay. So it's 2 rem now, and then it falls back to something else or whatever. That's awesome. That's the yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that. Like pick up and use this, and then customize it easily because I started out like when I think when you first start out, you might gravitate towards like a bootstrap or something. Like I think we probably all
Hmm.
came into web development and we're like struggling with like making a button look good. And then we
Yeah.
see a thing like that, we're like, oh yeah, like heck yes. Like I'm just gonna pick this up. This is great. They did everything for me. But then you go into like customize that button or customize the way that looks to match a design, and you're like, I should have just done this myself. This is how like
Yep.
this is just this is a nightmare. So being able to easily by using CSS custom properties just change all of the ways that it's created makes things so much easier. So I appreciate this like escape hatch of like I don't have to be like, well, I should have just written it myself. Why did I even try to
Right.
customize this container, right? It can
Yeah.
be such a
It's
pain.
it's like exposing the styling. We finally have the primitive for like exposing style props to your components. That's so cool. I think web components are doing that in such a cool way, especially with like shadow uh, shadow roots and all that stuff. So there's so many cool CSS features, and that like it just keeps getting better.
I have
So
no idea
I'm
what a shadow root is, but I'm now interested. It sounds like something that my friends who are
ooh.
playing Elden Ring would have talked about. Um, I just beat the shadow root. And I'm like, cool, good job, buddy.
It
I'm proud of
it
you.
is a pretty wild feature
Okay.
that was introduced at the same time as like custom elements. Um, it basically you can shadow DOM, yeah. So you
Oh, the shadow.
can
Okay, okay. I'm familiar with the shadow DOM. The shadow root. I'm not.
the shadow root is like the yeah, uh, basically the CSS part of that where like that will stop the cascade into the shadow root, right?
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
So
This is a
it's a
whole.
really powerful and difficult feature to wrap your head around. But it is cool for like third party widgets and stuff like that,
Got it. Okay. All right.
where
Yeah.
you can keep styles from bleeding in or out of that element, basically.
Cool. Another. It's just it's just with
We're just lots of
cascade
fun
layers and then
CSS.
yeah and then shadow it just becomes like there's a lot to manage, and it's just always funny when people are like, I hate CSS and CSS is so simple I shouldn't bother learning it. It's like, no, it's got a lot to it. Anyway,
There's so much to learn.
there
So
really
yeah,
is.
I'm excited about this tool and where it kind of intersects with all these exciting CSS features. So
Yeah, Nate, I am really looking forward to like just with the little bit of magic you showed us and just how much this broke my brain when we just first typed red.6 and we got that to work like that. That is such a nice, like, honestly, seemingly too nice or something. Like, chat, like, back me up here. Like, this is like, oh yeah, why haven't we done this? Like, why? How is this
yeah,
the first time that someone just went, hey, why don't we just do this? Like, this feels like the obvious one. Like the obvious thing that gets brought up at the beginning of the meeting is like, yeah, sure, like that's obvious. Let's dig deeper. But it's like, yeah, this just works. You got it to work, and I like it. I like it a
yeah.
lot. So
So I'm the next thing I'm working on. If people in the chat want to join me on my GitHub, there's a Token CSS org. So I really want to build a VS Code extension so that those tokens are highlighted and you can like jump to definition and all that awesome stuff. So definitely come join us. I might need to make a Discord for us.
nice. I see Ben. I assume it's a Ben. B Holmes, Dev, whoever that is. Said he's there, but I don't see you there. I don't see you there, buddy. You gotta get in there. That's awesome. It's a really cool concept for a project. I love that you're picking up not just like hold on, the XKCD 14 implementation. You know
Yes.
what I mean, right? Yeah. So this,
Oh, sure.
I love that you're going. All right, there's the token group. I'm picking up the thing that they're talking about, and we are, we're going to utilize it, make it easy to use inside the system. You're not going, what if we did to design tokens this new way, right? Like
Yes.
this is the kind of the classic joke, but you're leaning into that, and I love that. You're just picking up what they are. If I can find it, yeah, design, yeah. So this,
Yes. That's
um,
definitely the goal.
yeah,
There's a lot of cool stuff in here, and they're still figuring it out. So I definitely would encourage people to get involved in this as well. Their GitHub is really great. They're very open to outside contributors, and if you care about this thing, this is kind of shaping the future of how we work with design tokens. So
awesome. Yeah, it's just a great spot to be in. Design tokens are, I think the chat can agree, pretty wonderful. Save us a lot of time.
yep.
Um, oh, and Scott says all things Astro/Nate are like, oh yeah, seems like the thing that should have always existed, right? It's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Why didn't I think of it, right? But it's always Nate, always Astro. I saw Fred in here. You got a great team. Ben, I'm really thrilled that Ben Holmes is on the team now. It's just a wonderful person. So
Yeah, we are too.
you got a good one there for sure.
Yep.
And Charlie says, how much might we need to know about the low level stuff around design tokens to contribute? Asking for a friend. Charlie might be asking for himself, but yeah. But how much would they need to know? Do you think?
Great question. I don't think there's I think there's plenty of opportunity to get involved. And are you asking Token CSS or the design tokens community group?
I'm guessing Token CSS.
Okay. So yeah, I don't cool. Awesome. I don't think there's too much about the like spec that needs to happen here. So that would be yeah, anybody is welcome. Feel free to open issues and share what you want to see out of this tool. And then I'd love some more collaborators on this. So anybody is welcome.
Awesome. Well, I love you. I love I love you. Apparently,
I love you.
well, I love you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I hope that shows up as a testimonial on a site you make for yourself someday. It's like Nate is a hard worker. He's a dedicated person, and just a bright thinker. Fred Case. Is it Scott or Shot? Is it
Shot. Yep.
Shot? And then just I love you, Alex Gross. Like I hope that makes it.
I'll take it.
I love that you also. I love that you came on and gave us like the debut. I was excited about it since you reached out and talked about it. So it's just
Totally.
super cool concept. Lots of love here today. Yeah, exactly. Just love everyone. And thank you, Brent, for dropping the Astro link. So yeah, you've got a great had a great Discord over there in the Astro Discord server. Would that be a good place for people to find you? Either that, or like I guess they could maybe ping you inside the Front End Horse one. But I figured you're probably in the Astro one pretty frequently. And if people are interested in Astro, it's a great server. You guys do a great job with Discord in general. So
Thank you.
Very
I'm definitely on Discord, Twitter, GitHub. You can find me in all of those places. So
absolutely. Just to leave you with a quick related story, just to embarrass myself slightly more. When I accepted a job offer like a few years back, I got the call, and I'm listening to who would now be my boss, like explain like what we're offering you this would be the benefits, blah blah blah. Like we're just going to give you this job offer, and my mind immediately goes to like memorizing these facts so that I can go and tell my wife all about these facts. And when I talk to my wife, I often say, I love you. So I'm like thinking forward to that. And I just go to, all right, thanks. I love you. And he's like, I love you too. I was like, all right, this is going to work. Like he just, like paused and just sent it right back. And I was like, all right, this is going to be a good place. So
That's amazing.
yeah, just immediately came back with it. I'm like, all right, that works.
It's just a personality trait. You got a lot of love to
Right?
give.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty great. But yeah, so Nate, I didn't mean to diminish you there. I still love you, buddy.
That's
all right.
okay.
So I didn't mean
That's
to say
okay.
say it to everybody, but no, thank you for coming on again. Always great to have you. And yeah, big shout out to the Astro team. You're all pretty wonderful.
Thanks so much.
But yeah, was there anything else you wanted to plug, talk about, anything like that? We touched on open props a little bit. You wanted to kind of shout them out, I think, right?
Totally. Yeah, that's a super cool project. Definitely taking a lot of inspiration from them. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right, cool. Well, Nate, really appreciate it. You are always welcome back here, buddy. And chat, let's find somebody to raid. All right, let's get let's see who's around. Let's go do it. So hope you all have a fantastic day, and thanks so much. See you all later.
Thanks.